All over the world, there are hotels where history seems to cling to the walls. Places where footsteps echo in empty hallways, doors open on their own, and guests wake in the middle of the night with the overwhelming feeling that someone is standing beside the bed. Some of these hotels are grand castles. Some are seaside resorts. Some were once ships, hospitals, or centuries-old inns with secret passageways and hidden rooms. So tonight, we're counting down 10 of the most haunted hotels in the world. Number 10, the Mermaid Inn in Rye, England. At first glance, the Mermaid Inn looks like something from a storybook. Timber beams, slanted floors, narrow staircases, and a history that reaches back hundreds of years. But beneath its charming exterior is a darker past. The inn has long been linked to smugglers, secret tunnels, and ghost stories that seem to follow guests from room to room. Its cellars are said to date back to the 1100s, and the building itself was rebuilt in 1420, making it one of the most atmospheric places to spend the night in England. Room 16 is one of the most famous. Guests have reported strange figures, unexplained noises, and a chilling sense that they are not alone. Some stories describe ghostly duels, shadowy forms, and the feeling of being watched from the corners of the room. For a ghost hunter, the Mermaid Inn has everything: ancient walls, hidden passages, violent legends, and the kind of silence that feels alive after dark. Number 9, Toftaholm Herrgård in Langham, Sweden. Toftaholm Herrgård sits near Lake Vidöstern in Sweden, surrounded by quiet scenery and old-world charm. It looks peaceful, romantic even. But according to legend, one room in this elegant manor carries a tragic story. The haunting is often connected to room 324 and the spirit of a young man whose love ended in heartbreak. As the story goes, he was in love with the daughter of a wealthy family connected to the estate, but the match was forbidden. Heartbroken and desperate, he is said to have taken his own life. Since then, guests and staff have spoken of strange activity tied to the room: windows closing by themselves, unexplained sounds, a presence that seems to move through the old manor, still tied to a love story that never found peace. This is the kind of haunting that feels quiet at first, not loud, not theatrical, just a lingering sadness in the walls, as if the past is still waiting for someone to listen. Number 8, Ballygally Castle Hotel in County Antrim, Northern Ireland. Ballygally Castle Hotel stands along the dramatic coast of Northern Ireland with stone walls, a castle tower, and a ghost story that has become part of its identity. The most famous spirit here is Lady Isabella Shaw. According to legend, after giving birth to a daughter, Lady Isabella fell out of favor with her husband, Lord James Shaw. The story says he took the child from her and locked her away in a room at the top of the castle. Her death followed soon after, and ever since, her presence is said to haunt the property. The hotel even has a famous ghost room where visitors can step into the atmosphere of the legend for themselves. Guests have reported knocking on doors, strange sounds, and the sense of a woman moving through the castle. But Lady Isabella is not always described as terrifying. Many consider her a friendly ghost, still wandering the place where her story ended. For haunted hotel travelers, Ballygally Castle is one of those rare places where the ghost story is not hidden away. It is part of the experience. Number 7. Dragsholm Castle in Zealand, Denmark. Dragsholm Castle is one of the oldest castles in Denmark, and it has a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in Europe. The castle's history includes nobility, imprisonment, war, and centuries of human drama. With that kind of past, it is no surprise that ghost stories have gathered around it for generations. Among the most famous spirits are the White Lady and the Grey Lady. The White Lady is often connected to a tragic love story. Legend says she was a noblewoman who fell in love with a commoner, a relationship her family would never accept. In some versions of the story, she was imprisoned within the castle walls. A skeleton was reportedly found hidden inside a wall during renovations in the early 20th century, feeding the legend even more. The Grey Lady, on the other hand, is often described as a spirit who remains near the castle out of gratitude, still attached to a place where she once served or received care. Whether you believe the stories or not, Dragsholm Castle feels like the perfect place for a haunting. Old stone corridors, noble secrets, a history of confinement, and the feeling that not every resident has moved on. Number 6. Hotel del Coronado in California. On the surface, Hotel del Coronado is bright, beautiful, and iconic. It sits along the coast near San Diego with red rooftops, ocean air, and a long history of famous guests. But beneath the elegance is one of America's best-known hotel ghost stories. In 1892, a young woman named Kate Morgan checked into the hotel under mysterious circumstances. A few days later, she was found dead. Her story became the center of the hotel's haunting legend, and many believe her spirit still remains at the Del. Guests have reported flickering lights, sudden breezes, objects moving on their own, and the feeling of a gentle presence nearby. Kate's former room is especially associated with strange activity, but stories of her spirit have been reported throughout the hotel. What makes this haunting so compelling is the contrast. The Hotel del Coronado is not a gloomy castle or abandoned ruin. It is beautiful, sunny, and luxurious. And yet, one woman's unresolved story still seems to drift through its halls like sea mist. For paranormal travelers, it is the perfect reminder that ghosts are not always found in dark places. Sometimes they linger in the most beautiful ones. Number 5. The Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. The Queen Mary is not just a hotel. It is a retired ocean liner with a long and dramatic past. For decades, this massive ship crossed the Atlantic, carrying passengers, soldiers, celebrities, and stories. Today, it is permanently docked in Long Beach, California, where visitors can stay overnight inside one of the most famous haunted ships in the world. The Queen Mary is known for countless ghost stories, phantom footsteps, disembodied voices, cold spots, shadow figures, strange knocks from empty cabins. Some guests report hearing children near the old pool area. Others describe unsettling feelings deep inside the ship. One of the most famous haunted rooms is Stateroom B340. Over the years, it has developed a reputation for intense paranormal activity, including reports of unexplained sounds, objects moving, and the feeling of an unseen presence in the room. There is something especially eerie about a haunted ship. The narrow corridors, the sealed-off spaces, the sound of metal shifting and creaking in the night. It already feels like a place caught between worlds. And when the lights go low aboard the Queen Mary, it is easy to imagine that some passengers never truly disembarked. Number 4. The Langham in London, England. The Langham is one of London's most famous luxury hotels, but behind its elegance is a long history of ghostly encounters. Opened in the 19th century, the Langham has hosted royalty, celebrities, writers, and travelers from around the world. But for ghost hunters, one room stands out above the rest. Room 333. This room has become one of the most famous haunted hotel rooms in London. Over the years, guests have reported seeing apparitions, including the figure of a Victorian gentleman. Some stories describe a man in old-fashioned evening wear. Others speak of sudden cold spots, strange movements, and the feeling that someone is present in the room when no one should be there. The hotel's haunted reputation has only grown with time, especially because the stories are tied to such a polished and historic setting. That is what makes the Langham so fascinating. It does not look like a haunted house. It looks refined, expensive, immaculate. But late at night, in the quiet upper floors, luxury can become something else entirely. A hallway can feel too long, a mirror can seem too dark, and room 333 can start to feel like a place where the past still checks in. Number 3. The 1886 Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. The 1886 Crescent Hotel calls itself America's most haunted hotel, and once you hear its history, it is easy to understand why. This grand Victorian hotel sits high above Eureka Springs, but its past is far from ordinary. Over the years, the building has been a luxury resort, a school, and later, a hospital run by Norman Baker, a man who claimed he could cure cancer, despite having no medical license. That chapter alone gives the Crescent Hotel an eerie reputation. Many people came there hoping to be healed. Not all of them left. Today, the hotel is famous for ghost tours, haunted rooms, and stories of spirits tied to different eras of the building's past. Room 218 is one of the most active locations, often linked to the story of a worker who died during construction. Guests and investigators have reported voices, apparitions, footsteps, doors opening and closing, and unexplained activity in the old morgue area. The Crescent Hotel has the kind of haunted history that feels layered. One ghost story is unsettling, but here there are many. Construction deaths, medical experiments, lost patients, long corridors, old rooms with stories stacked one on top of another. For anyone drawn to haunted hotels, the Crescent is not just a place to sleep. It is a place to investigate. Number 2. Fairmont Banff Springs in Banff, Alberta, Canada. The Fairmont Banff Springs looks like a castle hidden in the mountains. Surrounded by the Canadian Rockies, it is grand, beautiful, and deeply atmospheric. But this mountain hotel is also home to some of Canada's most famous hotel ghost stories. One of the best-known legends is the Ghost Bride. According to the story, a bride died tragically on or near a staircase on her wedding day. Since then, guests and staff have reported sightings of a woman in a wedding dress drifting through the hotel, sometimes near the stairs, sometimes in the ballroom. Another famous spirit is Sam the Bellman. Sam is said to have worked at the hotel for many years and loved it so much that he never really left. Guests have reported mysterious help from a bellman-like figure, only to later realize no staff member matching that description was on duty. There are also stories of strange rooms, unexplained noises, and sightings in the halls. The Fairmont Banff Springs is one of those haunted hotels where the setting does half the work. A castle-like hotel in the mountains already feels otherworldly. Add a ghost bride, a loyal bellman, and long, empty corridors, and it becomes the kind of place where every sound after midnight feels like a message. Number 1. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. At number 1 is one of the most famous haunted hotels in the world, the Stanley Hotel. Sitting at the edge of the Rocky Mountains in Estes Park, Colorado, the Stanley is beautiful by day and deeply unsettling by night. White walls, long hallways, old staircases, mountain air, and a reputation that became legendary after Stephen King stayed there and found inspiration for The Shining. The most famous room is room 217. That is where King stayed, and it remains one of the most requested rooms in the hotel. Guests have reported strange occurrences, unexplained sounds, lights turning on and off, and the feeling of an unseen presence moving through the space. But room 217 is only part of the story. The Stanley has long been associated with ghostly activity throughout the building. People have reported hearing phantom piano music, seeing figures in hallways, and capturing strange sounds during paranormal investigations. Some visitors describe the energy as playful. Others find it deeply unnerving. What makes the Stanley so powerful is the way legend, literature, film, and real guest experiences all overlap. It is not just a haunted hotel. It is a place where one night's stay helped inspire one of the most iconic horror stories ever written. And for ghost hunters, that gives the hotel a rare kind of atmosphere. You are not just visiting a famous building. You are walking into a story that refuses to end. From ancient inns in England to haunted castles in Europe, from luxury resorts to ghost ships, these hotels all share one thing in common. They are places where the past still feels close. Maybe the stories are echoes. Maybe they are memories. Maybe they are something more. But if you are the kind of traveler who listens for footsteps in empty halls, checks the corners of the room before turning out the lights, and secretly hopes the old hotel key comes with a ghost story, then these are the places worth adding to your haunted travel list. Just remember one thing. When you check in, you may not be the only guest in the room. Thanks for joining us here at Unexplained Places on Earth. Our lead producer, Marcia Chase, has finished her first novel, and it is now in its final edits. It's a supernatural thriller filled with ancient mysteries, portals, hidden agendas, and a battle over the human soul. We're currently looking for ARC readers who would like to receive an early copy before publication. If you'd like to be part of that, you can sign up at marciachaseauthor.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with the next mystery you'd like us to explore.